All right, so when you're solving polynomial equations, the main thing that you need to have with your equation is that it needs to be set equal to 0, okay? You need to isolate the rest of the equation on usually the left side of the equal sign and then the 0 on the right, okay? So once you've done that, the factoring part, you've been practicing and practicing and practicing, shouldn't be too bad. And then the solving or getting the solution is pretty easy. It's like Algebra 1 level. Okay, so we've got x squared minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. So first example, already set equal to 0. So pretty easy. From here, you just want to follow the steps. Is there a GCF? No GCF. Is it easily factorable? Yes, because it has a leading coefficient of 1. So basically, what two numbers will multiply to get negative 10, but add or subtract to get negative 3? X minus 5 and x plus 2. Everybody with me so far? Okay. The only thing different is this equals 0 over here. Okay, before we just had that off, right? Okay, so up to this point is just when you're factoring. The last step is this solving, okay? You're going to take the x minus 5, the first factor, set it equal to 0, and the second term, or the second factor, the x plus 2, set it equal to 0. Then you solve for the variable. So you just do inverse operations. You add 5 to both sides. You get x equals positive 5. You subtract 2 from both sides, and you get x equals negative 2. Okay. What do you notice about these two answers in comparison to the two factors? They're just opposite, right? See that? Minus 5, positive 5. Plus 2, minus 2, or negative 2. Okay? They get a little bit trickier when you have a coefficient, which example number 3 will. All right? So let's look at example number 2. Example number 2, we've got x squared equals x plus 30. So the first thing we've got to do is isolate, okay? The x squared's already on the left side of the equal sign, so the easiest thing to do is to move these other two terms over there. Subtract the x, subtract the 30. That's going to set it equal to 0 for us. So we have x squared minus x minus 30 equals 0. Look for a GCF. Is there a GCF? No. Is it easily factorable? Yes. What two numbers will multiply to get negative 30, but add or subtract to get negative 1? Negative 6, so x minus 6 and x plus 5. Okay? So when we go to get our solutions, we're going to take x minus 6, set it equal to 0. X plus 5, set it equal to 0. Add 6, we get x equals positive 6. Subtract 5, we get x equals negative 5. Okay? These are your solutions. These are your factors. Okay? And these two numbers, if you were to graph this quadratic, would be where your graph crosses the x-axis. So you know when you have a coordinate plane like this, here's your x-axis, here's your y-axis, and you have a quadratic, so your graph is going to look like a what? Starts with a B. Parabola, right? This one's positive, so it's going to open up or down? Up, right? So at positive 6, so like over here, you're going to have a point, and at negative 5, so like roughly right here, you're going to have a point. Your parabola is going to be something like this. Not exactly, because the vertex is probably going to be a little further down, but these two numbers, if you were to graph it, would be where your intersection occurs. All right, any questions on example number 2? All right, example number 3. All right, example number 3, we have 3x to the third power equal to 4x times the quantity 2x minus 1. Is it set equal to 0?
No.
No, clearly not. So we need to do some, obviously, distributing over here and set it equal to 0. So let's do that first. 4x times 2x is 8x squared. 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. And to set this equal to 0, since the largest exponent is on the left, let's subtract the 8x squared and add the 4x. That's going to get us 3x cubed minus 8x squared plus 4x. Now it's set equal to 0. Okay. Now we can look for a GCF. Is there a GCF? X. This has an X in it, this has an X in it, and this has an X in it. There's no numeric part, but there's definitely, bless you, an algebraic part. So if we factor out the X, what's left? 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. All right? So obviously not going to follow one of our patterns. Is it easily factorable? No. So let's use our slip and slide on this. So we're going to take this 3 and multiply it by the 4. That leaves us with 3, oh, sorry, not the 3, because we want to multiply. So it leaves us with x squared minus 8x plus 12 equal to 0. Okay. Now it's easily factorable. So what two numbers will multiply to get 12, but add or subtract to get negative 8? Negative 6, negative 2? Yes. So x minus 6, x minus 2. And then don't forget this x that we factored out first. Okay? These are our factors. How many factors do we have? We have 3. We have this is a factor, this binomial is a factor, and this binomial is a factor. They each need to be set equal to 0, but first we have to divide by what? 3. So let's divide this by 3 and this by 3. So can we reduce here? Yes. This is 2, right? Can we reduce here? No. So slip and slide. So this one's actually 3x minus 2. This one's x minus 2. And this one is x. So we set each of those equal to 0. First one's super easy. X equals 0. We're done. Second one, if we have x minus 2 equals 0, it's just the opposite, and it's positive 2, right? The third one is the only tricky one. 3x minus 2 equals 0. When you have a leading coefficient on your binomial, what kind of answer are you going to end up with? A fraction. Okay, so add 2 to both sides. Get 3x equals 2. Divide both sides by 3. So x is going to be equal to 2/3. So you have 3 answers here. Now, if you look back at the original equation, is there anything that would indicate to you that you should have 3 answers? The x cubed, right? When we have a quadratic, how many answers do you have? 2. When you have a cubic, you're going to have 3. When you have power 4, you can have 4 answers, and so on.